I said to you the other day, you know, this is how I know. Like sometimes people will be like, "Oh, hey, Em," and I'm like, "You listen to the podcast," because nobody ever called me Em. I mean, like my name's Emily, so of course people call me Em sometimes, but not the way that they do now.
Wow. We really changed that for you.
We changed my entire identity.
How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I think it's really cute.
It's so cute. And
I think
also
it's adorable.
It rhymes with Jen. So
that's where it came. That's why we decided to start doing this.
Yeah, yes. Because it would be ridiculous for me to say, "Hey, Emily." Like, no. What are you going to say? "Hey, Jennifer." Like, who are you?
Let's do that next time for fun. Bye, Jennifer. Okay. I'm so excited for today's episode. Life lessons that have changed our perspective. Before we do that, we have a listener question, intro question. I cannot wait to hear what the fuck you say for this. What is your go-to comfort TV show from Diana?
I have so many.
But are yours like comfortable or are they like fucked up? Like what's yours?
Yeah, they're fucked up.
Your comfort is fucked up.
It's like, I know we probably said this before, but it's like, you know, you ever see those reels where people are like, "Oh, me trying to go to sleep," and they're like listening to a murder podcast?
That's you.
That's literally
not me. No, I'm like haunted.
So, yeah, no, I like documentaries, like a nice murder. But your
go-to comfort TV show, like what's the TV show you could watch over and over again?
Sex in the City. I've been watching Sex in the City since I was a teenager, like on DVD in my room.
Yeah.
On my computer. So I think Sex in the City, I could watch Sex in the City and every episode for the rest of time.
I mean, you and I are the only people on the planet who likes the HBO. And wait, what's it called? The HBO version?
Oh, shit.
And just like that.
Thank you. Good job.
We might be the only people that like actually really like that show.
I honestly, they could do anything, and I would love
the movies. I'm like, I love it.
I love it. I love it all. I don't. There's so much, right? There's so much like critiquing of it, and I'm like, I'm just happy they are on TV.
Yeah. Okay. I feel that's a very good answer.
Thank you. What's yours?
That's a good guess.
Ted Lasso.
Okay, I feel like I have to say. Okay, I have a thing. So, right, I cannot watch scary shit at night. So at night, I just watch the same things over and over again. That is. I will watch through it. Ted Lasso, Parks and Rec, The Office, The Mindy Project, and then my one slightly fucked up one is Orphan Black. And if you have never watched Orphan Black, which I've been trying to get Jen to watch Orphan Black for years.
Never done it.
It's on BBC. It is so goddamn good.
It's on BBC. How do I find it?
Because you can stream on anything. It's a BBC show, but like, come on, it's 2024.
Right. Great point. I'll Google it.
Google streaming Orphan Black. And if you have watched Orphan Black, I want to be your friend because nobody I know watches it. And I'm trying to talk about some of my girls.
It's really a shame when you're watching a show and you want to talk to someone about it and no one's watching it.
I finished, what I finished last night, The Perfect Couple.
Oh yeah. You finished it.
Yeah. I mean, in the first episode, I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Did you predicted that one too, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Very obvious. But I just really didn't like the dancing intro. Somebody explain it to me. Why was that so weird for me?
I didn't like it either.
Something about Nicole Kidman scares me.
Really?
Yes.
I love her.
I feel like she could stab me to death.
I mean, she probably
smile
could.
during it.
Wow. Whoa. I hope this doesn't get back to Nicole Kidman.
I love your work.
She definitely listens to this podcast. It's not even a question. Not even a question. We are that big. Nicole Kidman is going to come for you. Okay, let's stop bullshitting and talk about what we actually want to talk about today. And that is life lessons that we learned. Life lessons that have changed our perspectives.
Yes.
Wow. I feel like there's so many. Where do we even begin?
Okay. Well, so we got a lot of lessons people wrote in, but I want to start by saying mine that I have worked on. And this is from my wonderful old mentor, Thomas Wood, who is fucking amazing and who always said to me, helping is the happy side of control.
Wow.
So for me, one of the ways, and when we say it's the happy side of control, right? So let me say that again. Helping is the happy side of control. And the reason we say that it's the happy one is because I don't look crazy, right? I'm not walking in and saying, like, you have to do this and you have to do that. And I like look at this nagging bitch. You look super helpful, but then it is a way of controlling a situation and controlling the outcome. And for me, I always just thought I was this nice, selfless person.
When really it was benefiting you.
When really it's control. And
Right.
I think it's also, somebody wrote in one of their lessons they learned from this show was clear as kind. That's a saying from Al-Anon. And codependence, right? So like being really clear with people with their boundaries. And I think in some ways, codependency and control, they have always gone together for me. And it's also a way of protecting yourself. If I can try to control the outcome by being super helpful and cute and wonderful and happy, then it's gonna be okay. It's less scary.
That makes a lot of sense, right? Like where, it's less scary, and at the same time, you can also tell yourself like I am being so helpful to other people. You know what I mean?
She's so nice.
She's so nice. She's helping so many people. So it makes a lot of sense. But, it's kind of the same thing we've talked about before of being like a people pleaser and like helping people. There are ways that is helpful, right? Like you are actually really helpful to people. Even if it's
Super
coming
helpful.
from even if it's coming from a controlling place, like there are people also get some benefits
Yes.
from that, right? You actually are helping people
Yeah.
in certain ways.
But here's where it gets like here's the shadow side, we call it, right? Which is then I can say, well, then I'll take away my help.
Oof.
You don't like it? I won't fucking help you anymore.
Oof.
And that's when it's control.
Yeah.
That's when it's not so selfless, right? And you say this
That's
like,
not
listen,
the happy side.
that's not that's the shadow side. But also think about like how many therapists listen to this podcast. And the thing that we don't like talking about as therapists is that like we all have a savior complex because
Yeah.
you don't go into this field if you don't get something out of it. None of us are that selfless.
That's also, I think, one of the biggest things you learn or like early on in your career as a therapist, that you don't get to control the outcome of what happens. Um, it's your client's life, right? They get to make those decisions for
Yeah.
themselves. And I think so often at the beginning, you're like, I want to help people. I want to help people. Um, and you could learn all the theories, you could listen to all the podcasts, you could do all the self work, and you could help your clients see patterns, work them through things. But in the end, it is on them to make decisions for their own life. And I think when you're new in the field, that can be really frustrating when you're not seeing like progress in your clients, but then your frustration is about you, right? Like it's about the fact that you don't feel like you're doing good enough, like where in the end, your client has to be the one to take this. Your
Yeah.
client has to be the one who makes these moves, changes the behavior. And so I think it's important as a therapist to like always look at, okay, like, are there different theories I can pull from? Can I get more supervision around this? But in the end, it's not your job to make sure your client changes or does something different. You can just offer things and then they either take it or they don't. And, we've experienced this where you can be working with a client for years and years and years and be kind of saying the same thing in so many different ways. And sometimes they have to hear things over and over and over again in order to actually make changes. But I think as a therapist, like at the beginning, it can be really frustrating. And something
Yeah.
you have to learn is like, this isn't about you. It's not about you making these changes for them or feeling like a savior. Like this is about your client, and you
No
can
one
be
likes hearing that.
no, but
It's
it's
not
right.
about you.
Right. And it's part of our work as therapists to make sure that we're looking at like our own feelings about like where the client is and their progress and like how we feel that reflects on us as
Yeah.
therapists. Um, So anyway, that was my tangent.
So what do you think is your life lesson that has been changing your perspective?
I have a couple. The first one that comes to mind, and I say this all the time on the podcast, and so I apologize if you've heard this a ton. Um, but the one big thing that I think has helped me throughout my life is the understanding that things aren't going to stay the way that they are. Like when we're going through a really hard time, I specifically think about like when we're going through a hard time in the business. We just talked about this the other day because it's so up and down. Like we can be doing these huge transitions. And when we're in the thick of that, it can feel so overwhelming. And so to remind myself, like there is a time in which it's not going to be overwhelming. Like this isn't going to, because sometimes when you're in the thick of your feelings, it can feel like it's going to last forever. And when you feel like it's going to last forever, it's easy to start to react to that even more.
Yeah.
So just the sense that like everything is temporary is really, really helpful for me in so many ways. That's one big one. Another one that I think I really learned when we were in grad school, and it really like changed the way that I view the world, is just the idea that my view of the world or everyone's view of the world is like create something that's created, and that you actually can make moves to like shift your perspective on things. And I think for so long, I just believed that this is how things are because this is the way that I see them.
Yeah. You know what's funny is it
Tell
like
me.
mine is about like you have less control than you think you do, and yours is about you do have more control than you think you do.
Whoa.
Right? Isn't that what you're kind of saying? Like,
Yeah, but I think that fits with our personalities. Don't you think? Like I often
we're
feel
both
like,
delusional.
yes,
Yes.
it often fits with our brains. No, like I think that for me, I I have such an awareness that I don't have control. And I think almost to the extent of like becoming helpless in a way,
Yeah.
like so far one way. And I feel like maybe you swing so far the other way of like, I can control all these things, where mine is like, oh, I have no control over anything. I can't do anything about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that mine's helpful in certain ways. And then in other ways, I'm like, wait, I can shift my perspective. Like the things that I do have control over are like the way that I look at things, how I approach things. The
Yeah.
only thing that I have control over is myself. And I think it takes me from a place of like, I'm helpless in the world of a world that I have no control over to, well, I can change things within myself that helps me to like interact with this world that I don't have control over, and makes those things a little bit easier for me, or I can like
Yeah.
shift myself away from like these kind of perspectives. So it pulls me into a place of like, I have more control than I think that I do.
Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense.
And you're like, I have to I have to be okay with not having control, the control that I think
Hate
that I do.
that.
I know. It's wild because we are on like complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some things people wrote in.
Yes, I love that.
All right. Clear as kind. Of course, we love it so much. Okay. Someone said one of our favorites, if you won't be stressing about it in 5, 10, 15 years from now, then stop worrying about it. Ooh, that one's so hard for me.
Not me. Actually, that's probably not true. What can I ask you? Like, what makes that hard for you?
Oh, because I love, really torturing myself through worry.
Right.
And control. So then it's just like, don't worry. When someone says that, they're just like, don't worry. You're like, the fuck you mean, don't worry?
No,
right?
yeah, no, that is not the way. It's like when someone says, calm down. Like, don't ever tell someone to calm down.
I totally told Millie to calm down a few nights ago.
How did
It
that
was
go?
bedtime. She was being nutso. And I was just like, girl, you need to chill and calm down. And she said, I can't, my body's moving. And I said, okay, I'm going to go let your body move in here and you can call out the door when you're ready.
Honestly, it happens so quickly saying like, calm down to someone. It's
chill
just
out,
like an immediate reaction.
Right? Contain yourself. That's
Calm
what
yourself.
I have to, if someone says to me, calm down, I'm like, fuck off. But if I think to myself, contain yourself, that I can hear very differently.
But if someone said to you, contain yourself, you could hear that differently. I would be like, what? I would lose my
I
mind.
have to hear that differently because I've had to hear that.
Right. I see.
So for me, yours would be like, what the fuck? For me, I'm like, yes, I should contain myself. Like mine, because I've like had to.
I see.
I can hear it.
I see. I think I'm so like contained.
That's what I mean. No one's telling you to contain yourself, Jen.
So
who on this planet is saying contain yourself to you?
But if I like opened up a little, like if I was expressing myself a little and someone said, I'd be like, oh, you just.
No one would literally ever say that to you. We're like, yourself. I have to be told it often. So you're like, good point. But the reason I'm okay with contain yourself and I'm not calm down is like, you know what I mean? Like contain yourself is like, you're allowed to feel this, but you have to contain your feelings around it.
Yes, that makes sense.
Calm down is like, you're not allowed to feel this.
Yes, that makes sense.
At least that's how it feels to me. So it's different.
I agree. That's how it would feel to me too, is that like, you can feel this, but like maybe put it in like a little.
Maybe just
maybe just put it in a bubble.
Maybe pull that down
rein it in a bit.
Everyone is going through something. Everyone has childhood wounds. Yes. This is one of the best things that you can fucking remind yourself, because it is so easy to judge other people. It is so goddamn easy to dislike someone.
And especially when the way that they're reacting is affecting you somehow and you don't have any personal relationship with them to be able to remind yourself of something like this. For example, I just experienced this yesterday. I have to remind myself of this all the time. Someone honked at me yesterday, like loud. And and you know, when that happens, you like the first thing you want to do is be like leave me, you get like angry. Like I was getting angry. And I say to myself in those moments, like they're probably having a really bad day. And like, I just did something, or like they're struggling with something and I just did something that like bothered them, that like triggered them in some way. You know what I mean? No one lays on their horn like that because of like just that experience. Like you've gone through some shit today. What?
Wait, can I tell you a really funny story?
Please.
A few weeks ago, I'm driving and I see a friend of mine who I know is driving her kids to like the school that's near me. And so I see her next to me. I think she sees me. She does not. And I pull up and I like, don't cut her off, but I go in front of her to sort of be like flirt, right? She lays on her fucking horn. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think she knows this is me. So I call her. She doesn't answer. I'm like, first of all, I know you're in the car. I know you see me, motherfucker, or whatever. So she doesn't answer. She's driving her kids, whatever. She's probably like, I'll call Emmalee back after I drop them off. Or she's like, I hate that girl, hard to tell. Okay. So then she goes in the other lane. She goes next to me and she gives me the middle finger and she still has no idea it's me. So then I call again and she answers and I'm like, yo, that's me.
And what'd you say?
She's like, oh my gosh, right? Like, but I'm like, wow, in that moment, I really ruined her fucking morning.
Right.
Like in that moment, she's probably had a hard time getting her 2 kids out of the house. She's on her way. She probably could have been sitting in traffic, right? And I looked like such a fucking asshole to her. And she was ready to fight me.
Yes.
I mean, she was like, this middle finger, this is loud and proud, baby.
What if she did know it was you?
No, she was like, she's like, what do you mean that's me? Where are you? And I was like, I'm the car you're fighting with.
You know what it is? It's like that example. You always bring this up of like, if my husband tickles me when I'm in a good mood,
context, everything
makes me feel connected to them. He tickles me when I'm in a bad mood. I want to die.
Everything happens in context.
Exactly. And so, but I think it's easier to understand that context or remind yourself of that context when personally that context, right? Like if you're, I mean, this is even right. Like if you're having a bad day, because I know your context, like I know what you're going through. And so I can say like, oh, she's going through this.
Yeah.
Like I can recognize that she's having a bad day and then I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Because if you're part of that context and you understand like people's world, it's easier to be able to do that for most people. I mean, you should remind yourself of that, even with people who are close to you, they are also going through shit.
Yes. Yes.
But I find it harder when it's someone like I don't know and they're being reactive, to just say, this is like everyone's going through something.
So once again, I'm totally different.
Wow.
It's easier for me sometimes to feel it with strangers because I have no expectations on strangers. I don't care. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you're mad at me. I don't care if you lay your horn on me. What are you going to do? Blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the issue is I have expectations in relationships.
Wow.
And then that sometimes changes things.
Oh, wow. Yeah, not me.
I know you don't. Not even in our relationship. You don't have expectations for me.
Of course I do. But I will always, like, if you're going through something personally, like I know it. And if
I'm also very open.
Very
Not
open.
Everyone is.
100%.
Don't know what people are going through.
That's true. I just assume like if someone's acting different or if they are whatever, they're shut down or something's happening, I think because I also understand that on a personal level, like when I'm going through something, I'm more shut down. So like if I see someone who is more shut down, I go to a
place that everyone's mad at me. You don't go there.
No.
What the fuck is that about?
I don't know.
I want your version.
Do you want to dig into it?
Like that's one of the issues. Like I go to places that everyone's mad at me. Well, and then I don't think, oh, this is their thing. I think, oh, this is a me thing and I did something and
Well, I think my only expectation on that is like, if someone's mad at me and we're good enough friends, my expectation is that like, you will let me know and I don't have to wonder.
Yeah.
So I think that really relieves me of a lot of that, to be able to trust that if someone's mad at me, they will talk to me about it. And if they don't, then what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
So I think that would drive me nuts to think that anytime I felt like someone was shut down,
Yeah. Okay,
that's kind of the perspective shift that I think's been helpful in like being able to say, what did that? Do you see
somebody wrote in and said, don't expect more from people. Don't expect more from people than they are capable of giving.
Yes. That's such a good one.
That's a good one.
And I also think, right, that can shift your expectations. Like when people are going through something, people aren't able to give as much. And so your expectations maybe have to shift in those relationships too. And I think that can be hard, right? It's like, let's say, a friend has a new baby. Your expectations of them as a friend before they had that child like might have to shift because they might not be able to give in the ways that they were able to give. And so you in your relationship go through that transition with them as they make that shift for themselves. And I think that's a really good thing to remember, of like expectations that you had in a relationship at one point might have to shift in order to maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
I love this one.
Tell me.
Somebody wrote it and said the life lesson that they're working on that changed their perspective is it is possible to disconnect from work and relax. That's good. You're about to go on a trip.
That's true.
When you leave the area, I think you can do it.
I mean, I'll try.
Right?
I'll do my best. I think because I'll be forced to. But if I go on vacation, it's really hard. So when we go on vacation, we will ask each other because we have a group text with Nikki, and that's pretty much where we talk about like all business stuff, everything that has to happen. And
Because we're too cheap to buy a Slack.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Why would we do that? But every time any of us go on vacation, we say to each other, like, do you want us to continue to talk in this group chat? Or do you want us to like take this off and just like talk to each other? And like, if I'm going off like a light vacation, I'll like want you guys to keep talking in the group chat because like, I want to know what's going on.
Well, last week, so Nikki's away this week, Jen's going away next week, and Jen kept saying to me, if you need me for, and I was like, stop saying that. We will be fine, because there's no effing way I'm calling you when you're gone, because my ego is so goddamn big. I need to prove that I can do it on my own.
I believe you. I will. You
know, I will literally.
You will call anyone else. Me.
There's no effing way I'm calling you on that trip.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, this is a bit, right? I'm going to Italy for a wedding. I think the only thing that would take me to Italy away from work is like, if it was like some sort of obligation, but I'm really excited.
Yes. As you should be.
But I think the only thing that would take me away is like going out of the country.
Yeah.
Which is sad. So this person is saying it is possible to disconnect from work and relax. And that is something.
That one was meant for you today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I need that. Thank you.
This one's fascinating that someone's working on is check in with yourself. Not everyone has your best interest at heart.
Ooh. What do you think about that?
I don't know what I think about that. What do I think about that? I think that I guess it would matter what power this person has.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think the thing that I don't think that most people want to hear is, yes, like most people are self-serving. That's who we are as humans.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say is like, most people don't have your interest at heart in general. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's that most people don't have your best interest. It's that they don't think about you in general.
Yeah. Yikes. That's so much worse to say it that way.
Is it?
They don't think about you in general. You just don't matter.
Rather than them being malicious, right? Like, I don't have your, that's what that sounds like to me, of like, I don't have your best interest. Like, I am going to be malicious and like, don't have your best interest.
Most people aren't evil.
They're not evil. Exactly. I think just most people are just focused on their own lives.
Well, and this goes back to another disagreement we have.
Oh, tell me.
Which is, I feel like most people are good people, or like all people are good people, and you disagree.
You don't watch these documentaries. That's why.
That's true. If you're just watching Ted Lasso, you're like,
everyone's happy. Everyone is bouncy. And listen, I believe that majority of people are good people. Like, I really believe that. I believe that.
Yeah, then you hear some real fucked up shit and you're like, how could that be good?
I believe that good people also do bad things. And I still think they're good people. But I do think there is a portion of people
that are
who are bad people.
Yeah.
People who, it's just, and like because they murder people, they start, these huge cults where they are manipulating people, taking over their lives. Like,
it's pretty bad.
You watch some of these documentaries and you let me know what you think.
It's so true. I don't let myself watch that stuff. Like, right? Like, I'm almost like, I want to stay in my bubble.
I'm just fascinated by the fact that people could be that evil.
Yeah.
Because
it feels so far from you.
It feels so far from me. And I'm just like, how? Like, how is it that you believe that you could like manipulate people like this and like it's fun, like it doesn't affect you, it doesn't, I think as therapists and like both being like empathetic, we're always thinking about how is this going to affect someone else? Like how, you know,
Yeah.
like wanting to take care of other people. And so it's so foreign to me to eat. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm like so fascinated by it. But yeah, I very much believe that there are bad people. And I don't think that all people who do bad things are bad people. I
Yeah.
just think that there are a portion of people that are actually bad people.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay. We have to get some more.
I'm sorry.
Ooh, man, this one's hard. When someone shows you who they are, believe them.
It feels
Struggle with that one.
It feels
But
a
it
little
changed
too.
someone's perspective. This isn't about us. This
That's
is
not
what this
about
meant
us.
for someone else, for the record.
And
that meant something for you. Fuck yeah.
That's what matters. We don't need to weigh in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's just shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
I love this one though. One of my very favorite ones. I'm also working on this. If being hard on yourself worked, it would have worked by now.
Yes. I was at my husband's pool. My husband plays pool.
A lot. Like your husband plays pool a lot, Jen.
All the time. He is so competitive. Like he will find something and get obsessed with it because he's
a pool expert.
Competitive. So I was at his like pool match and he's very hard on himself if he loses. And I was listening to like other people on his team be like very hard on themselves. And I said, which is probably so annoying in the moment, like reflecting on it, I am probably the most annoying person there. But I'm like, is that helping you with your pool game to be that hard on yourself?
They're like, get this girl out of here.
And they were like, no. And I was like, so I'm just confused why you're doing it.
Just amazing. So here's what I say. If these lessons work for you, that's great. And if not, what else are you using to change your perspective on life? Because we get to change what we look at every single fucking day. Yeah. And if the perspective you have on life is not working, find a new one.
Oof.
Dear Em and Jen.
Dear Em and Jen.
Will you read it for us, my love?
Of course. Dear Em and Jen, I had a situation happen about a year ago where a longtime friend over 10 years made a comment about my mom, with who I have a very difficult relationship because of emotional abuse. Her comment was along the lines of, what does your mom even do that is so bad? When I was sharing a very difficult holiday visit I had with my parents among our group of friends, this really hurt me, as this friend definitely has seen and been around and seen lots of the tough times I went through with my mom. I was and still am working on myself in therapy. And for me, the comment in front of our group of friends felt like such a break in trust and our relationship, like it was irreparable. I've distanced myself since and protected myself by only sharing things that are surface level with this person who is in my life because of a shared friend circle. I've never addressed what happened with that person because I didn't feel strong enough at the time. I wonder what to do now and if I should give the person a second chance or just continue with the surface level friendship. Wow.
So it seems like there's two things, right? Like this person felt very invalidated and then also felt embarrassed because it was in front of people, right? Like it's a double whammy of a loss of trust, right? Like I wonder if it was one-on-one and someone said that to you, if it could have felt different, like it could have felt like curiosity. But it sounds like it really felt like judgment, and minimalization and dismissive.
I also wonder, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, please.
I also wonder like the tone that it was said, right? Like on one end, it could be, well, tell me, like, what did your mom do that was so bad? As opposed to, what did your mom even do that was so bad?
Yeah, makes a big difference. That tone
makes a huge, huge difference. Yeah. So I'm really curious about that tone.
Now, this person said, I never addressed what happened with the person because I didn't feel strong enough at the time. So of course, my curiosity is, do you feel strong enough now? Yeah. What would it be like to go back to that friend and say, hey, can we have a conversation and say, I don't know if you realized over the past however amount of months, I really pulled away from you. Here is why. That person most likely will be fucking shocked.
Yes.
Because for them, this probably didn't feel like anything. I mean, for this person, probably felt like this offhand comment that really wasn't a very big deal. And If you're met with defensiveness, then that also gives you some information, but they also might have been hurt from you backing away. It's really hard to know. So, what would it look like to address it now? I don't think you can give this person, quote unquote, a second chance without a conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
And also, in some ways, is it fair for the other person to not know why you've pulled away, right?
And I would also say if this relationship is important to you, or even if the relationship in context of like this friend group feels important to you, then I think it bears a conversation because it also sounds like this isn't something that you're just going to like get over in
Yeah.
order to like give this person a second chance. This is something that very deeply hurt you, and I do think there's a way to bring it up so that it's so that you can have a conversation, right? I agree with you that I think this person might be completely shocked. I also wonder, once again, because we don't know the situation, are there other things that this friend has said that feel invalidating? Is this a pattern? If this is a pattern, then like, is this a friendship that you really want to continue? Um, but if not, if this is an offhanded comment and you have, been able to trust this person in every other way before this, then it might probably does require, in order for you to like re-engage in the relationship, for you to actually have a conversation about how you were feeling.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Shrink Chicks.
We'll see you back here next week for another session.
In the meantime, if you want a question answered or a topic discussed, follow us on Instagram at ShrinkChicks. And if you're looking to get connected with a therapist like us to start or continue your therapeutic journey, visit thetherapygroup.com. Just fill out a contact form on our website, and we will personally match you with one of our amazing therapists. And for all of our therapists and group practice owners out there, we also offer group practice consulting.
And if you're looking to support yourself further and support our show, check out our amazing merch options at shrinkchicks.com/merch and our Know Yourself, Grow Yourself journal on Amazon. Also, if you'd be so kind, we'd love a rating review and for you to share with a friend or an enemy or a mother-in-law, honestly, whoever needs it, so that we can keep reaching more people on our mission to bring mental health topics to your ears every week.
Thanks for being here with us. And don't forget, to grow yourself, you got to know yourself.